Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of our podcast. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that sounds simple, but honestly, it can be life-changing. Morning routines. You've probably heard the phrase, win the morning, win the day, right? And I really believe there's some truth to that. The way we start our mornings, the habits we build, the first hour after waking up, it all sets the tone for everything that follows. And guess what? I'm not going to do this alone. I've got my awesome co-host with me, Mia.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everyone listening. Oh my gosh, this topic is such a good one. Morning routines are literally everywhere right now. You scroll through Instagram, and there's always someone showing their perfect sunrise yoga session, their green smoothie, their 10-step skincare ritual. And then there's us regular humans who sometimes just hit snooze 5 times and stumble toward the coffee machine.
Laughs. Yeah, exactly. And I love that contrast. Some people wake up at 5 a.m. and crush the gym before sunrise, while others are like, don't even look at me until I've had my coffee. And both are totally fine, by the way. So in this episode, Mia and I are going to share our real routines. What we actually do, not the polished version. We'll also talk about how those routines affect our productivity, energy, and mood throughout the day.
And maybe expose some myths too. Because I feel like the internet makes it seem like if you don't wake up at 4:30 a.m., meditate for 20 minutes, journal about gratitude, drink lemon water, read 10 pages of a book, and do yoga, you've failed at life.
Laughs harder. Oh yeah, that list sounds familiar. And I've tried that. No joke. It lasted 2 days. So, let's get into it. Mia, tell us, how do you actually start your mornings right now? What's your real morning routine without sugarcoating?
All right, so here's the honest truth. I am not a natural morning person. I've tried to be, but my body just loves sleep. So my alarm usually goes off around 6:45 or 7 a.m. And honestly, sometimes I do hit snooze once. But I've noticed if I snooze too much, I feel groggier, so I try to limit it to like 1 snooze. Once I'm up, the very first thing I do, don't judge me, is check my phone. I know everyone says it's bad, but I grab it and look at my notifications. Maybe scroll Instagram for a minute, check messages. It's not the best habit, but it helps me wake up. After that, I head straight to the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, and drink a big glass of water. I've made that water thing a rule for myself because otherwise I'd just go straight for coffee and then I'd feel dehydrated.
That's fair. I mean, hydration first thing in the morning is actually proven to help, right? Because your body loses a lot of water overnight.
Exactly. And after that, I make my coffee. I use a French press. It feels kind of ritualistic, you know? Like, waiting for the coffee to brew forces me to slow down for a few minutes. While that's happening, I'll open my curtains, get some sunlight, and sometimes put on a little playlist. Usually something calm but happy, like acoustic music. Then I sit down with my coffee, and this is the part of my routine that I'm most proud of. I journal for about 10 minutes. Not anything super deep, just a brain dump. I write down what's on my mind, maybe a quick to-do list, and one thing I'm grateful for. It helps me feel more grounded instead of diving straight into the chaos of the day.
That's actually amazing. A lot of people underestimate the power of just putting thoughts on paper.
Totally. And then after journaling, I'll do a quick stretch. Nothing intense, just like touching my toes, rolling my shoulders, maybe a downward dog. I used to try full-on yoga sessions in the morning, but honestly, I'd get too stressed about time. So I keep it short. Finally, I get ready for work, shower, clothes, makeup, the whole deal. While I'm getting ready, I usually listen to either a podcast or an audiobook. Something motivational, sometimes even funny. I like feeling like I'm learning something or laughing before the workday begins.
Okay, so to sum it up, you wake up around 7, phone check, water, coffee, sunlight, journaling, stretch, then get ready with a podcast. That's actually pretty balanced.
Yeah, but let me add the real part too. There are days when it doesn't look like that. There are days when I oversleep, skip journaling, and just grab my coffee in a rush while pulling my hair into a messy bun. So it's not always perfect, but that's life.
I think that's super important to admit. Like, routines aren't meant to be rigid prisons. They're supposed to support your life, not control it.
Yes.
So now let me jump in with mine, because it's pretty different from yours. First of all, I'm actually a morning person. Not naturally, but I trained myself into it over time. My alarm goes off at 5:30 a.m.
5:30? No way, that's still nighttime for me.
Laughs. I knew you'd react like that. Yeah, 5:30. The trick is, I go to bed early. I'm usually asleep by 10:30 p.m., so I still get my 7 hours. Anyway, once I wake up, I force myself not to touch my phone. I actually keep it across the room so I can't reach it from bed. The very first thing I do is drink water, like you. I keep a bottle on my nightstand. Then I head to the living room and do a 15-minute meditation. I use one of those apps that guide you through breathing and visualization. At first it felt weird, but now it's the calmest part of my day. After meditation, I stretch for about 5 minutes. Then I go for a run. Usually just 2 miles, nothing crazy. By the time I'm back, the sun is coming up, and I feel like I've already achieved something. Then it's shower, protein smoothie, and I sit down at my desk to plan my day before work starts.
Wow, that's like the Pinterest version of a morning routine. Meditation, running, smoothie. You're basically living the influencer life.
Laughs, not at all. I mean, trust me. There are mornings when I skip the run or when I just sit there half asleep during meditation. But the thing is, I notice that if I do at least 2 out of those 3, meditation, run, or smoothie, my whole day feels smoother. Like, I'm less reactive and more focused.
That makes sense. I feel like we each built routines around what our bodies actually need. Like, you crave physical movement in the morning, and I crave mental clarity through journaling.
Exactly. And that's the cool thing about routines. They're not one size fits all. You experiment, you see what sticks, and you build your version of morning success.
But let's be honest here. Building a routine is so much harder than it sounds. I've tried so many versions that failed. Like, there was a time I was obsessed with the idea of a 5 a.m. club. You know, waking up at 5, reading, working out, meditating all before sunrise. I lasted 3 days. After that, I was just cranky and sleep deprived.
Same. I tried the 4:30 a.m. miracle morning thing once. I thought I'd be super productive, but my brain was basically fried by lunchtime. I realized if your routine doesn't respect your natural sleep cycle, it's not sustainable.
Exactly. And guilt is the worst part. Like, people online make it sound like you're lazy if you don't wake up before sunrise. But honestly, waking up at 7 and having a mindful 30 minutes is better than waking up at 5 and being miserable.
Couldn't agree more. The real power of a morning routine is consistency, not the exact time you wake up. If you can consistently create even 20 minutes of intentional habits, you're winning.
Okay, Alex, since we're already talking about how routines look different for everyone, let me ask you this. Do you ever fall into the trap of productivity hacks? Like those life-changing tips you read about online?
Oh, all the time. I used to be obsessed with them. I tried cold showers, for example. People swear by them. Boost your energy, reset your nervous system, build resilience. And sure, it wakes you up, but it also made me grumpy. Standing in freezing water at 6 a.m. is not my idea of motivation.
Laughs, I tried that too. My shower was so cold I literally screamed, and my neighbor texted me to ask if I was okay. Never again. Warm showers all the way.
See, that's the thing. Productivity hacks are like tools. You try them, but if they don't fit your lifestyle, drop them. I found that journaling didn't work for me as much as meditation, but for you it's the opposite. And that's perfectly fine.
Exactly. I think the biggest myth is that there's one perfect routine that works for everyone. Social media makes it seem like you can copy-paste someone else's morning and suddenly your life will transform. But that's not how it works.
Speaking of copying, let me confess one of my failures. There was a phase when I wanted to follow this entrepreneur's morning routine. He woke up at 4:45, worked out for an hour, meditated, wrote in his journal, and then worked on his side hustle before breakfast. So I tried it. Day 1, I woke up late, skipped the workout, and ended up sitting at my desk half asleep with a blank journal in front of me. Day 2, I overslept and was late for work. By day 3, I gave up.
Laughs. That sounds so familiar. My funniest fail was when I tried making smoothies every morning. I bought spinach, kale, chia seeds, protein powder, the whole wellness package. First day was fine, but by day 4, I was tired of cleaning the blender. By day 7, the spinach was rotting in the fridge and I was back to instant coffee.
Oh my God, yes! The blender cleaning part is so real. People don't talk about the logistics of routines. Like, yes, smoothies are healthy, but who's doing all that washing when you're rushing to leave for work?
Exactly! Honestly, the funniest mornings are when everything goes wrong. You oversleep, can't find your keys, spill coffee on your shirt, and then the bus splashes you with water. Like, those days test your patience.
Been there. Once I spilled oatmeal all over my laptop bag because I thought it would be smart to eat on the go. Spoiler alert, oatmeal does not travel well.
Laughing hard. That's hilarious. I once left the house with mismatched shoes because I was so rushed. Didn't even notice until lunchtime.
Let's bring in some science here because I think understanding how habits work actually helps. Have you heard of the habit loop?
Yeah. Cue, routine, reward, right?
Exactly. So basically, every habit starts with a cue, like your alarm going off. Then comes the routine, maybe brushing your teeth or making coffee, and then you get a reward, like feeling awake or refreshed. The reward releases dopamine, and that's what reinforces the habit. That's why I think routines stick better when they're tied to small rewards.
That makes so much sense. For me, coffee is that reward. Like, I look forward to my French press ritual because it feels comforting. It actually motivates me to get out of bed.
And for me, it's the post-run shower. It feels amazing after sweating, so even on days when I don't feel like running, I remind myself of that refreshing shower, and that helps push me out the door.
So the key is not just discipline, but designing your routine around little rewards. That's smart, otherwise it just feels like punishment.
Exactly. Another scientific thing is exposure to natural light in the morning. It regulates your circadian rhythm, which means your body clock stays aligned. That's why opening the curtains right away or stepping outside for a few minutes can improve sleep quality at night.
Wow! That explains why I feel more awake when I actually let the sunlight in instead of sitting in the dark. Simple but powerful.
Yeah.
Speaking of sunlight, let me tell you about my trip last year. I stayed at this cabin with huge windows, no curtains. So basically, I woke up with the sunrise every day around 6 a.m. And you know what? I felt incredible. I didn't even need an alarm clock. It made me realize how much artificial schedules mess with our natural rhythm. Speaking of sunlight, let me tell you about my trip last year. I stayed at this cabin with huge windows, no curtains. So basically, I woke up with the sunrise every day around 6 a.m. And you know what? I felt incredible. I didn't even need an alarm clock. It made me realize how much artificial schedules mess with our natural rhythm.
That sounds amazing. I had a similar experience once when I camped in the mountains. No phone, no alarm, just the sunrise and birds. I naturally woke up early and the mornings felt so peaceful. It was like hitting reset on my brain.
Exactly. But then you come back to the city and suddenly you're staying up late watching Netflix, hitting snooze, and everything collapses.
Laughs, true. But I think those experiences show us what's possible if we align better with nature. Even if we can't live in a cabin, we can at least bring pieces of that into our routine, like sunlight, fresh air, or even silence before the noise of the day.
Yes! Silence is underrated. Even just 5 minutes without screens, without talking, just being with yourself. It's refreshing.
You know what else is important? Mindset. Because you can have all the steps: water, coffee, meditation, journaling. But if your mindset is negative, the routine won't feel fulfilling. I try to wake up with one intentional thought, like, today I get to, instead of I have to.
I love that. Shifting from I have to go to work to I get to go to work completely changes the vibe. Gratitude really does rewire your brain. That's why I like writing one thing I'm thankful for in my journal every morning. Even if it's something small like I'm grateful for my cozy blanket, it sets a positive tone.
Exactly. And gratitude also helps fight stress. Because once you start your morning in a rush, everything feels like an emergency. But if you start with calmness and gratitude, you're better at handling challenges.
Yes, and speaking of calmness, I've realized that when I spend even 10 minutes journaling or stretching, I feel more grounded all day. But when I skip it, the day feels chaotic, like I'm just reacting instead of leading.
That's a powerful observation. Routines aren't about perfection, they're about setting yourself up to respond better to whatever comes.
Yes.
Okay, Mia, let's talk about the big debate. Exercise in the morning. You already know I'm team run before sunrise, but where do you stand?
Laughs honestly. Team gentle stretch only. I tried working out in the morning, like full-on gym sessions, but it just doesn't work for me. My body feels stiff, my energy is low, and I end up dreading mornings.
That's fair. A lot of people say their muscles need more time to wake up. For me, the run clears my head. It's less about fitness, more about the mental clarity I get from moving.
Exactly, and that's where our difference shows. I get mental clarity from journaling or stretching. I think movement is important, but it doesn't have to be a 5K run. Even 10 minutes of stretching is movement, and it wakes me up gently without the pressure.
So the lesson is movement matters, but the type depends on you. Some people need cardio, some prefer yoga, some just like walking the dog. As long as you're moving your body, you're doing it right.
Yes! And I think we should stop guilting people into believing they have to do intense workouts every morning. A 5-minute dance in the kitchen while making coffee counts too.
All right, next hot topic, coffee versus tea. I know you love your French press, but have you ever tried starting with tea instead?
I have actually. Green tea phases, chai phases, but nothing hits like coffee. It's not just about caffeine, it's the ritual. Grinding the beans, boiling the water, waiting for it to brew. It feels like an anchor in my morning.
I get that. For me, it used to be coffee too, but I noticed I was getting jittery, so I switched to matcha. It's still caffeinated but gives a smoother energy without the crash. Plus, whisking matcha feels kind of zen.
Matcha does feel classy. But for me, coffee is like an old friend. I can't replace it. Though I have tried to limit myself to 1 cup in the morning instead of 3, otherwise I'm bouncing off the walls.
Laughs. Yeah, moderation is key. Whether it's coffee or tea, it's less about what you drink and more about how it fits your body and your mood.
Exactly. And again, the ritual is as important as the drink. It's that intentional pause before the day starts racing.
Now let's tackle another big one. Phones. You admitted earlier that you check your phone first thing. I'm guilty too sometimes, but do you think it messes with your mornings?
Oh, 100%. If I open social media too early, I get sucked in. Suddenly, I'm comparing myself to people or stressing about emails before I've even brushed my teeth. It ruins the calm vibe, but it's so hard to resist.
I know. That's why I keep mine across the room. Honestly, the days I don't check it for at least 30 minutes are way better. My brain feels more focused, less cluttered.
Yeah, I've tried no phone mornings too, and it feels amazing. The problem is discipline. Sometimes I just grab it without thinking. Maybe I should replace that habit with something else, like keeping a book by my bed instead of my phone.
That's actually a good trick. Swap the habit. Because willpower alone doesn't work. You need a replacement cue. If the phone is the cue, put it away. If the book or journal is right there, you'll naturally reach for it.
Exactly. I think the key isn't being perfect, but being aware. Even reducing phone time in the morning by 10 minutes can change the whole tone of the day.
That leads perfectly into the last big theme. Sustainability. Because we can talk about meditation, coffee, running, journaling, but unless a routine is sustainable, it won't last. What do you think makes a habit sustainable?
For me, it's starting small. Whenever I've failed, it's because I tried to overhaul my entire morning in one go, like, tomorrow I'll wake up at 5, meditate, exercise, journal, read, drink lemon water. It's too much. But when I started with just one thing, like journaling for 5 minutes, it stuck. Then I added more over time.
Yes! That's habit stacking. You take one existing habit and attach a small new one to it. For example, I already drank water in the morning, so I stacked meditation right after it. Eventually, it became automatic.
Exactly. And also giving yourself permission to fail, because some mornings will be messy. Alarm didn't go off, kids need attention, work calls early. Instead of beating yourself up, you just reset the next day.
That's such an important point. Habits aren't about perfection, they're about consistency over time. Even if you do it 70% of the time, it still transforms your life.
Yes, and the beauty is, once a habit clicks, it doesn't drain energy anymore. It becomes effortless, like brushing your teeth. You don't even think about it. That's the goal.
Exactly. And when you stack a few effortless habits together, that becomes your morning routine. And that's when your life really changes. Because the morning sets the tone for everything else.
You know what I've realized from this whole conversation? There's no universal perfect routine. The best morning routine is the one that works for you, one that makes you feel grounded, energized, and ready without feeling forced.
Absolutely. Whether it's journaling, running, coffee, or tea, it doesn't matter. What matters is intention. Are you starting your day on autopilot, or are you starting it with awareness?
Yes! Awareness is the key word. Even small mindful acts, like opening the curtains, drinking water slowly, or writing one line of gratitude, can shift your whole mindset.
And if you mess up, that's fine. Tomorrow is always a new chance to start again.
Yes?
All right, everyone. That's a wrap for today's episode on morning routines. I hope this conversation gave you some ideas, or at least reassured you that your morning doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Whether you wake up at 5 a.m. or 9 a.m., Whether you run a marathon or just sip coffee in bed, you can still create a routine that empowers you.
And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency, sustainability, and intention. Start small, experiment, and build something that feels good for you. And hey, if your morning starts with hitting snooze once or twice, that's okay too. You're human.
Laughs exactly. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and maybe even let us know what your morning routine looks like. We'd love to hear your stories.
Yes, send us your funniest morning fails too. We could definitely do a part 2 with listener stories. Until then, stay mindful, stay energized, and remember, you can always start fresh every morning.
That's it from us. This is Alex.
And this is Mia.
Signing off. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.